Hello again, architecture students. This video, I'm not going to show you how to set up a document because we're going to use the same document that we had before. Okay, so it should already be set up. You should already have your wall. Now we're just going to put a door and a window in that wall. Now, what I want you to do, just so we can keep the parts separate and so that, to kind of help you see the individual parts, we're going to make another layer for the door and the window. Okay, so I'm going to go over to layer properties and click on that button. And we get our layer properties. We're going to create a new layer by clicking on this little icon right here. Okay, we're just going to call this door and window. And we're going to make that layer a yellow color. Any of the yellow colors would be fine, but that'll help us determine what part is for the door, what part is the wall. Okay. All right, so we got that layer created. Now I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to go ahead and set that layer so that when we draw, we're actually drawing on that layer. Okay, now first thing I'm going to do is make a door opening. I'm going to do it over here to the side. So our door opening, our rough door opening, is going to be 36 by 6 foot 10 inches. So I'm going to start a rectangle, and for the x-axis, that's going to be that bottom line down there. That needs to be 36 inches. And then hit the tab button to go up to the height of the door, and that is going to be 6 foot dash 10 inches. Okay, so there's a door. I'm going to move that door, and to move this, you have to click on it and then come over to the Move tool and select that. I'm going to choose the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, now remember it's going to want to lock into some geometry. So go ahead and click, or don't click on it. Lock into that corner right there and then drag to the left. It doesn't matter how far. Okay, just kind of put it like right in here where you get those two studs sort of in the middle of the door. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now there's our door. All right, now I'm going to do the window. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle to represent the window. Our window is going to be 3 feet wide, so I'm going to drag it and then type in 3 feet and then tab to get to the y-axis, and there I'm going to type in 4 feet. We got a 3 foot by 4 foot window. Click on it again to activate it, and then click on the Move tool. Grab it by the corner, and then we're going to put it right here. Now we do have to line it up, but just kind of put it right here between where those two boards are kind of going through the window. And we need it to line up with the same height as the door. So we're going to borrow, I'm going to click on the door, and I'm going to explode it because you'll actually explode both of these. But I'm going to explode the door. While I'm at it, I probably should have went ahead and exploded the window. So now those are both exploded. Okay, I'm going to borrow this line, stretch it across here, and that's where I need to line up. So I'm going to select all the lines that go with my window. Click on the Move tool. Just grab it by one of the corners and just move it and snap it right up to that line. Okay, click on that line, just bring it back to the door. All right, so we got a door, we got a window. Of course, we do not see studs in the middle of our doors and windows, so we got to remove those. Let's go to the Trim tool. Click on that, and then trim right across and get rid of all those studs. Okay, now we just cut a hole in our wall. We've got to reinforce this by using headers and trimmers and king studs and cripples. Okay, we've already got cripples. These are our cripples right here, these shortened boards. Okay, and the one over here over the door. We're going to create the header first. Let's do one item at a time, and let's do the window header. So with the window header, we're going to use a 2x6 piece of lumber to make the window header, which doesn't mean it's actually 2 inches by 6 inches. Okay, it means it's 1.5 inch by 5.5 inches. So I'm going to offset this top line 5.5 inches. Click on the Offset tool, type in 5.5 inches, and then offset it up ahead, up above, or whatever. Okay, now With that offset, of course, I know I have what's called a trimmer or a jack stud. It comes under this window and rests, and the header will rest right on top of that jack stud. So what we're going to do is the bottom line for the jack stud, we're going to click on its end grip, and we're just going to stretch it a little bit. We're going to stretch it 1.5 inches. We're going to do the same to the top one. Click on that, stretch it. Whoops, make sure it's straight, 1.5 inches, okay? Now we've got to do the same to this other side. Stretch, 1.5 inches. Okay, and again, grab this one, stretch, 1.5 inches. Okay, all right. So because this is a header, I kind of have to close in the ends of it. So closing in there and closing in here. Now we've got that header that's over our window. Now we need the jack studs or the trimmer studs that go right down beside that window and provide that lateral support. So I'm just going to use that line and just stretch it because the board is 1.5 inches, the same as that extension that I just made, or that overhang of that board that I just made. So I'm borrowing the line from the header and making my trimmer studs, or jack studs, another word for them. Now here I need the inside because that doesn't quite look like a stud. It's just a single line down here. So now I'm going to borrow the line from the window and stretch that down to the sill plate. And now I have a full jack stud. Okay. Now, right next to those jack studs, what do I have? I have king studs. And I'm going to borrow some of the studs that I already have to make that. So I'm going to select this stud right here, and I'm going to select copy. And I'm going to choose this top right corner as my base point. Click, and I'm going to line it up with that header. So just kind of come down to that corner and activate that reference point. And take it right up to the top of the wall. Okay, and there you go. Click on it, select the whole thing, and just put it on the door and window layer. Come over here to the other side, click this or copy this stud, click on the copy tool, and we're going to move it by this inside line here, and we're going to line it up with the header of the window. Okay, we're going to select it and turn that one into a yellow by putting it on the door and window layer. Okay, now I've got this header in here, and of course we don't see these cripple studs. We're not supposed to see them going through our header. Okay, so let's hit the trim tool. Okay, and there we trimmed it out. Now we distinctively have our header. All right, now this bottom line is going to be the seal of the window. So I am going to offset that 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. Click on it and drop it right below. Okay, same thing. I should not see studs inside of my headers. So I'm going to hit the trim tool, or my studs inside of my seal, I should say, and take those stud pieces out there. Now I'm almost done, and some framing styles will allow you to leave it like it is right here, but to be just a bit more on the secure side, you want to put a couple more cripples at the very end right here. So I'm just going to activate that little intersection between those two lines, drag my cursor to the right, type in 1.5 inches, pull it all the way down to the top of the seal. Okay, same thing over here on the other side. Now I could probably mirror that line instead of drawing it. Click on it, click on mirror. Now to do my mirror axis, or the line that line is going to reflect over, I can go in here and find the middle of that seal, pull it straight down and click, and now I have my other cripple right over there. Okay, so I just added those cripples on the end just for a little bit more stability for this window. So that is complete for your window. Now what we want to do is the door. Okay, so we're going to do a header on the door. Again, the header is a 2x6, so we offset it 5.5 inches. Click on the offset tool, 5.5 inches. Click on the line, offset. Okay. Now we got to drag the ends of those lines another 1.5 inches because it wants to overhang and rest on the trimmer and or jack stud. It's going to set right here. So drag that one 1.5 inches, so 1.5 inches. Take this one, drag it 1.5 inches. Take this one, drag it, type in 1.5 inches. This one, drag it, type in 1.5 inches. Okay, and then of course we close off the ends, but let's just go ahead and draw the jack stud as well, since we know that we can. Okay, that comes all the way down. Draw another one here. And you see how this line, how it makes the jack stud, and I messed that up big time. Drag it all the way down. Okay, so now we've got the jack studs. Okay, we also need king studs here as well. So we can actually do the same copying. Okay, well, first let's do this. Let's remove those studs from our header. Okay, all right, now we're going to copy this one. Now, sometimes this ends up to where the door is like really close to this stud, and we have to put another stud between them, but there's not enough room. What do? We just select that one there and click on the Move tool and just slide it over until we get done, so we have room to work with it. Okay, so do that if that is a problem for you. So we're just going to copy it now. We're going to select it, copy. Select the top right-hand corner of that stud, bring it over here to the wall, use the header to line it up and activate that reference point. Put it right there, okay? Do the same over here. Select that stud, click copy, click the top left-hand corner, line it up with the header, go right here, click it into place. Okay, now this one over here, you can actually move it back to where we got it from. Select it, click on the Move tool, select the top right-hand corner and move it over here right adjacent to that trimmer. This one we do not move. It has to be at the end, just like this is right here. It has to be there. Sometimes you might see where they'll actually put 3 2x4s in there instead of just the 2 to kind of close that gap, but there's really not necessary. You just wasted a piece of 2x4 to do that with. All right, so let's actually select these 2 lines here and put them on the door and window layer. Let's select these 2 lines, put them on the door and window layer. Okay, now all that looks complete. We're good to go. So now you have a wall with a door and a window in it. All right, the next thing you'll want to do, and we're going to do this for practice, but you would want to annotate possibly some things on here. Now, definitely what you'll see is some dimensions. Let's get a decent dimension size. Right now, I've got it on 3/16. Let's see if that's going to be a good size. Whoops, I'm sorry. I got it on 1/16. So I was looking at the leader down here. So let's change this to our pre-made. See, I got 1/16 and 1/8. I thought I made a 3/16. I meant to make a 1/8 and a 3/16, not a 1/16. So let's go in and edit the 1/16. Click right there. And we're going to rename that one. Rename 3-16 IN dimension. Okay. And let's see, let's modify. Make sure we did set it where we needed it at. Text height is 3/16. So I did make the text 3/16, and I made that correct. Okay, click OK, close. All right, so what you would see possibly as far as some annotation would be from the top to the very bottom. Okay, and pull it out to the side just like so. So we have 8 foot 1.5 inches. Okay, and you might also see this one from the header to the bottom of the floor. Okay, of course we get 7 feet 5 inches that way. But if I was to bring this up to right here to the actual top of the seal, then it would be the 6 foot 10 inches of rough opening. So realistically, I could have actually dropped the whole thing down, you know, an inch, and would have been perfectly good to go. Okay, and of course you might also get the bottom. Oops, what did I do that for? The bottom of the header down to the floor. Okay. All right, so we got some measurements there. You may also see measurement going across 3 feet. Okay, let's kind of get this one kind of right even with that one. Let's drag it down here where it's even. Okay, so 3 feet for the openings, and you might even have a height. And typically, if you have a width, you're going to have a height. So just kind of bring that over to the side a little bit. Click and click here. And kind of do the same over here. Be consistent. You know, if I'm putting the height kind of over here to the right third, I want to do that for the door as well. Okay, now of course the text is in the way. So we're going to grab the text and drag it up about right there. Okay, so now you have a wall detail. And here's what I want you to do. We're going to do this, you know, just so you get some practice with your leaders and practice with knowing what these different parts are. Okay, so again, we're going to label some of this stuff. So this one long stud, and here's something too we'll do before we label them. Let's fix these dimension lines. We need to pull those out here. Just like that. So they're not in the way, and that's good. Okay, so we're going to point out with leaders. Let's see what we have our leader set on. We got that set for 3/16 inch text, so that's going to be good. Click on leader. Okay, let's get rid of that box. Okay, there we go. Okay, click on leader. All right, and just we're going to name the parts, okay? And we're going to practice making our annotations very neat. Okay, so here is going to be a stud. All caps, remember, all capital letters. Okay, I'll make another leader. And this one's going to point inside. And when you're placing these leaders, you sometimes have to activate one of those reference points and then just drag your cursor along, just like I had to activate the middle there to drag my cursor up and create. Look how I'm lining it up. So my words are going to be lined up, and so are my elbows. My elbows will be lined up as well. Okay, and this one is going to be king stud. Okay. Another leader. Okay, we'll actually, yeah, we'll move up a little bit more. Make it even with that elbow. Okay, and we got jack or trimmer. Okay, that's called a jack or a trimmer. Okay, and we've got a header right up here. Click on the leader, point right there to that corner. See if we can line these up. Right there. Okay, now you want your angles of your lines to be very close to the same thing. It just makes things look better. So this one, I see I can move it up a little bit more and make the angle of the leader a lot closer to what the other ones are. Okay. Now, it's not perfect, it's not exact, okay, but it is close. Okay, and down here we have it lined up. Seal or sole plate. Okay, that's the two words we use for that, seal or sole plate. So what I want to do here, instead of having you watch me do all the annotation, is I'm going to annotate this whole thing and then come right back. So voila, here it is. There really wasn't much to it. I pretty much showed you everything while we were on the video. But just kind of finish it out. There's not a whole lot to annotating this or naming the parts, mainly is what I want you to do. And you don't have to rename over here on the window any duplicate parts from the door. Just put this information on here. It'll be perfectly fine.